In one of the most recent matches of VCT EMEA, BBL faced Koi. In that match, they played Breeze, which had a very interesting composition for Koi, with Yoru and Omen, again, on Breeze. So that made me hopeful that we're gonna see some really nice compositional synergy between those characters. So when one of the executes happened early in round 7, I was really hopeful. Unfortunately, the execution was completely butchered. So now in this video, we're going to try to find a solution to what Koi was doing and also explain to you what should have been happening in that match. First, let's start by watching the round that was happening in the match.
Definitely, I mean, other than Shados on the Sheriff.
Maybe Camo gets his ult this round, see what they could do with it potentially. Looks like that is the case.
They picked up the orb on A, then I already had a plan to go towards B. Now Yoru ults. And they want to combo the Yoru ult with the Paranoia. Alright, so he gets all the informations, he waits for the Paranoia and exits. And that's about it. The execute is already gone. And why is Pansy upset? Yeah, because there's no follow-up. Right? You can hear how Pansy is upset about seeing what's happening. Because Koi, even though they planned this exec from the beginning of the round, we have seen 4 players in front of B, and they're waiting for Yoru to pick up the orb and go in front of B. They had no planning after that. So, again, let's break down a little bit what happened. We see the Yoru going onto site, uses the clone to deactivate one of the traps from the Cypher. And there's a molly that in theory many people in the chat will be like, but they can't go, there's a snake bite. That's one of the biggest issues, because if someone would delete this HUD from this VCT match and they would delete the commentators and I would see only the gameplay, right? I would assume that this is some ranked gameplay that I'm watching, because that's typically how it looks in ranked. When I'm ulting on Breeze, I have no support. People are slow, people are not following, people are afraid, even though I give them all info and I have all eyes on me. Because the job of the Yoru is to make sure that the teammates can follow to site, because he's clearing the site. He's making sure that the players can go and trade him. It doesn't really even matter that the Yoru didn't play his ultimate that well, because like this TP right here doesn't achieve anything. He doesn't have anything to fall back. Like he doesn't have a TP out, right? Because he used one to go from A to B, and then he used another one that goes here onto backside. Like, and people will see it as well. They just insta destroyed it, which is the correct decision. Like, this is really badly played by the Yoru. But why on earth there's no support for him at all, right? So let's think about what is the composition of Koi and what are the strengths of the composition. The composition strength is the fact that they have another controller alongside the Viper, and that's Omen. That allows you to play with pressure smokes that allow you to create more space, create pressure, create anxiety in the defenders because you deny them vision. Right? Typically, when you play with double controllers on Breeze, you would just, if you play a little bit slower around, you're gonna use one of the smokes like dark cover on Nest. You're gonna use the smoke in holes like here or here to deny info. You're gonna use maybe something in double doors or like here to connect those 2 pillars to make sure that no one can from Nest or from Big Tunnel to see you if you're crossing to double doors. So that forces the player from double doors to either play safe on site or just peek out mid, right? But that's risky because you have no help. And you can also do a pressure smoke while attacking like this. Now, I was talking about the snake bite being used by the opposing Viper. She just puts this when the Yoru goes onto site. Now, the thing is that people should just run through that because it's on 10 damage. Right? But there wasn't even no Viper orb. Even if there would be a Viper orb, you still have to run through when your Yoru is creating space for you. Right? And another upside of this composition is that you could make this defense hold way less efficient if you were just using your tools at your disposal. So what happened here, we have seen inefficiency by all of the players, including the Yoru, right? There was no coordination. One, when you ultimate with a Yoru, your main reason to do that, and you play Omen alongside him, is the use of the Paranoia. He used the Paranoia like this, But that's incredibly inefficient, right? A solution to this position would be using the paranoia from here. So it's easier to hit players that are on the backside, and they can maybe even reach someone who is like running away, because from here it's incredibly easy to actually miss that paranoia when someone is just moving around these boxes, right? So that's the first point. And that paranoia should be used way earlier, and then Yoru should have been exiting further away from the opponent, because another problem that we've seen here, pay attention how the paranoia is being used. Like, he's exiting when the player doesn't hear him, right? But then when he's gonna swing into this Viper, you can literally see how the Viper sees him. Remember, paranoia is a blind. It's not a flash. So this player is close enough for you to fully see him. This would have been fixed if the Yoru would exit here instead of here, because then the Viper would have not been able to see him. That's not an inefficiency, right? And that's a big problem when it comes to understanding your goals, what you're trying to achieve, how you want to achieve that, what's the angle that you're trying to isolate, right? So also remember that the Yoru flash is a non-bow with a paranoia, because if something is, if someone is under the influence of the paranoia, he is immune to flashes unless the flash explodes close enough for him to see it, that flash. Otherwise, it just doesn't affect that player, right? So be aware of that. But now, how do we plan this? Because this should be a playbook play, right? This should be a playbook played by Koei, and it should be made to the T. And that includes teamwork from the Omen, Sova, and Yoru. Those three players should be the pillars of this entire execute. But both Omen and Sova are incredibly inefficient with using the utility, and then Viper and Cypher are just not going in, right? Pay attention to what's happening with the Sova here on the minimap. He's using a retake arrow, a reveal arrow on the backside. That's good. But after using that and using a shock to destroy a trap before, he is droning. The drone is completely useless. You already had a drone that is much better because it can flash. Those players didn't move out of main during the duration of the Yoru ultimate, even though there was a paranoia, even though there was a recon arrow. Two players, Viper and Omen, were not, like, they were fully focused on destroying the Yoru. So imagine if the players from main would have come out. Now, look at the positions of the minimap as well. The player that is playing in B tunnel, that's the Cypher, he's not even like helping right now because he's behind a Viper wall in a moment. So he needs to go through. If you just follow through with the Yoru, then essentially you have a 1v1 here that you can follow and just kill. And the Snakebite, well, it will give you double damage, but you can mitigate how easy it is to spam you through that if you just use a smoke from the Omen. So Omen smoking here would deny the vision on the players that are running through this Snakebite, right? And also, when you're running through the Snakebite, you just want to make sure that you just bunny hop as soon as possible to be harder target to hit, right? And then you follow through to the Yoru after the Omen paranoias. So my playbook would have looked like this. We start the round. Let me move it like this. Here we go. All right. And we're gonna pick up the defensive Cypher as well. The defensive Cypher is gonna then go here. Viper wall is gonna be used onto onto the rubble wall as well. Let's just do it like this. So the first thing that happens is the Yoru ultimate. The Yoru ultimate goes into main and clears the first corner just in case someone is standing in this area. This is the moment where everyone else now follows, right? Because you need to keep up with the really fast pace of the Yoru, right? But now when he cleared the first corner, you go out. You go out, and now you have to be incredibly efficient with your utility. Probably even before the Yoru starts ulting, you're just gonna do this smoke over here to create pressure, right? This allows you to go forward. So even maybe actually change it. We just do this. We just do this Omen smoke at the beginning of the round, right? Yoru ults, checks this corner. Now Yoru needs to pre-set up a clone with his right click over here before he goes to site. Important because he's so fast, right? After that, when the smoke appears here, Omen can cross to this corner or straight up TP to this corner to be ready with the paranoia when the Yoru sees a target over here, right? If there's no target, well, then the Omen has to go into site, but he's more freedom because of the smoke. Sova should absolutely never use a drone because we already have a drone that's much better. That's the Yoru. So his task would be to use a shock dart that explodes and destroys the trap. The easiest one is that it explodes like this. You stand literally in the corner over here in this spot right here, and you can bounce the arrow just by looking in this wall, and it bounces like that. It sets up in a second. It's literally just one bounce, no charge, and it destroys the traps from the Cypher, right? Just in case if the Yoru clone is not going to be able to have a follow-up. But you do that, then you shoot an arrow that he actually used on the backside, and now you're just running in. And when the team is close to the position of the potential traps from the Cypher, that's when the Yoru activates his clone. So the clone goes first, and just in case, if something happened with the shock that didn't destroy any traps, it runs onto site. After that, we see the paranoia to execute on the player right here, and the players are walking into site and try to trade the Yoru that is on site. Because even if the Yoru doesn't get a kill, he's creating so much pressure and distraction that you're able to follow it up and kill the player that the Yoru targeted, and the Omen was supporting him. And then it doesn't really matter if you use any util after that or not, because the only thing that matters is you taking the space with the Yoru ult, right? But again, like, just pay attention to, on this round, pay attention to the movement of the players on the minimap. They're waiting here, right? Now they're slowly walking. The camera of the Cypher on elbow is good, but you don't need to do anything else. You just have to run in now on site. The clone, as you see, what I explained, the clone is going way too early. Not a single player is following it up. Not a single player can actually destroy this Cypher trap if it's not next to it. So Shadow is going to use a shock dart to destroy the trap right here. And he does that. He destroys the trap, but no one is still moving. And the Yoru ultimate is 15 seconds long. Look, half of the Yoru ult passed. That means that we have 7 seconds gone of the Yoru ultimate, and the players are still standing in this position. Right? We're going further. They're still standing. They still do nothing. And I think, by the way, literally what happened is they didn't want to go in front of the paranoia. I think people were afraid that they're gonna get hit by the paranoia. That's literally what I just realized. And that's another point why the Omen should be crossing to this section of the map to make sure that he doesn't affect the players that are coming from main. Because if he stands like here, then those people cannot go through. Yeah, that's what happened. That's literally what happened. I just realized that. So that's so silly. I actually didn't even think that's possible to happen in a game. So yeah. Yeah. And the players are just stuck in main. I don't know. Like, you guys know, as an analyst, I'm getting easily upset when I see so much inefficiency, and I love seeing teams play Yoru Omen because it's so potentially like incredibly efficient. Would be fantastic to see also like Yoru breach combos alongside maybe Omen. So hope you guys enjoyed my breakdown and how to fix that stuff as well. What is the ordering? What is the way that you should play those playbooks? Because it is a little bit embarrassing that a professional team wants to do something like that, but it looks like that on their own map pick. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that. See you guys next time.